Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Even Your Dynasty show. On today's video, I'm going to talk about the Jeff Passan report that came out yesterday that the Giants have made Mike Yastrzemski and Lamonte Jr. available via trade this offseason. For those of you that have watched my channel a lot in the past, you probably know this is something I've been pushing for, both coming into the offseason, even going back to the deadline, even probably earlier than that. I think it makes a lot of sense to move these guys from a lot of different standpoints, be it financial, roster building, direction of the franchise. Just there's a lot of levels as to why it makes sense. So I'm going to go into why I think they should do this. But before we do that, if you do enjoy the video, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications. We are doing our giveaway on Friday, so make sure you click that bell. It's going to be at 8:30 Pacific time, but if you want a reminder, if you have the bell clicked, it will, tell you when we do go live. You are going to want to check that out because in that video, we are going to do our giveaway at the tail end of that probably. And to get entered in that, all you have to do is two different things. You got to be subscribed to the channel, and you just have to drop a comment during the live chat. That's it. There's going to be no specific words you got to put in. All you have to do is drop any comment. You can talk baseball with us. You can put a question for us to answer, or you can tell me I'm a dum-dum and you hate my takes. It still gets you entered no matter what you do. So go ahead and do that. And we look forward to talking with all of you. In our community page, there is a poll out right now as asking if you guys want us to do all three giveaway items on one live show or one on each of the next three. So if you have strong feelings either way, go ahead and drop a vote there. I'm leaving it up to you guys to decide what we end up doing. I think right now it's the one per live show is leading, but go check it out and vote. Also, you're going to want to catch us tonight on NorCal Sports Network. I'm going to be joining Dan over there. We have a special guest that's going to be joining us. I'm not going to, give away who it is, but you guys check it out. It's going to be a fun one tonight. So yeah, definitely go subscribe to his channel and view that as well. But as to why moving on from Lamonte Jr. and Mike Yastrzemski makes sense for the Giants. The first reason, it's the financials. We all saw the report, last week that the Giants are going to be probably reducing their payroll going into 2025. This shouldn't come as a shock to anybody. I detailed as to, a lot of the reasons it makes sense, both from a repeater tax and then getting under. So that way the penalties for signing qualifying offer players and things like that are not as strict. There's a lot of reasons it makes sense to get under. Right now, they have about $67 million to play with under the competitive balance tax. And that is factoring in that Yastrzemski is estimated to get about $9.5 million in arbitration, and Lamonte Jr. is estimated to get about $4.7 million arbitration. So that's $14.2 million right there. That is money that the Giants, if they can get off the books, it gets them to about $81 million-ish in room under the competitive balance tax. And if you can get that money off the books, it just gives you more flexibility in ways you can improve the roster. Maybe you move those guys and you still swing a couple trades to bring in guys like Yandy Diaz, or Ricky has mentioned someone like Freddie Peralta from the Brewers. A couple guys that are only making, $8 million, $10 million next season, where you can almost swap out the guys you have and improve your roster in a couple different ways. Or if you want to go a little more aggressive in free agency, it might be the difference between being able to sign a Blake Snell back and staying under the competitive balance tax, while also trying to get a big guy like a Willy Adames or Anthony Santander, or, multiple guys. So this would be huge for them just from a financial standpoint and being able to upgrade their roster this offseason. Now, also, the roster building as a whole. This is a team that really struggled situationally, and I'm more referring to Mike Yastrzemski in this regard, but this is a team that really struggled situational hitting this past season. Well, if you move on from a guy like Yaz, who had a $190 with runners in scoring position and historically really has not been a great, at bat in those situations, it gives you the potential to maybe improve your team by being able to beat teams in different ways. Because at least right now, it looks like the most likely guys you'd be replacing internally would be a Luis Matos and or a Grant McCray. Now, do those guys make you better? Are they a better player than Mike Yastrzemski? I'm not making that argument. Right now, Mike Yastrzemski is a very reliable 2 to 2.5 WAR player year in and year out. You know what you're getting out of him. He's a low ceiling, high floor player. very reliable. Same thing with Lamont Wade Jr. Low ceiling, high floor players. But when you look at your current team, which it's been proven 2 years in a row, it's not good enough. They've won 80 games and 79 games the last 2 years, with these guys taking significant at bats in the middle, in kind of in the middle of their order, which is unfortunate. But with these two guys being huge pieces, they're not good enough. And to me, if you had a 90-win team and the difference between taking them out of the lineup and putting in one of these young guys was, going from 90 wins to 87 and maybe missing the playoffs, then it's a lot harder to justify taking them out. You want the reliability in those cases. I think back to that 107 win team when they had Posey and Belt and Crawford, guys playing at MVP levels, and Gossman and Webb at the top of the rotation. They had a lot of high-end talent that year. Having guys like Wade and Yaz was incredibly valuable because you knew they weren't going to be negative contributors. Right now, it's not doing anything for you. I mean, at the end of the day, if you win 84 games or you win 74 games, if you miss the playoffs with either of those totals, it didn't matter. At the end of the day, that's what matters. Playoffs or no playoffs. And if you miss the playoffs, you don't get extra points for winning 84 games instead of 78 games. That's not how that works. The only thing it impacts is your draft position at the end of the day, or your lottery odds. That's really all it's impacting if you're missing the playoffs. So to me, rather than having a low 80s win roster and having the guarantee, kind of knowing what you're getting out of those guys, you kind of need to, raise the potential, your potential ceiling out of those positions. So if that is putting Luis Matos in, who he would get put to left field, it would probably be Ramos kicking to right and Matos in left. But if that is putting Matos in and trying to, if he gets right, I still think he could be a 280, 290 hitter. He's got to start hitting more line drives and using the field more and get in the strike zone more frequently with his swing decisions. But if he does develop, that could be the kind of hitter he is. Gives you a good top of the order, hitter. If you go with a Grant McCray, elite defensive potential, 40 stolen base potential, has some sneaky power. He could be a guy that can help you beat teams in other ways. If he can get on base enough, he can change games with his legs and his glove. Kind of changes the way you might be able to beat teams. And obviously he's got a lot of physical gifts. I mean, if he starts putting the ball in play more, he could have some kind of special upside. Not predicting these guys will do those things, but it gives you the potential that while they might take a step back from what you have, they also very well could take a step forward, which kind of bleeds into the next point of this, which is you need to start looking about long-term solutions. This team, at the end, even if you were to keep him, Mike Yastrzemski is 35 years old. Lamont Wade Jr. is on the wrong side of 30. And you need to start looking at long-term solutions. Now, first base, they have Eldridge kind of on the horizon. You know what your long-term solution hopefully is there. But in the outfield, it's really up in the air. You've got a guy like Matos who's on his last option year that you really need to figure out what you have in him. And maybe he isn't the solution, but at least you find out. Maybe Grant McCray isn't the solution, but at least you find out. And if you put those guys in and they just show that these guys aren't going to be developing into big time players, they're not the future of this team, by all means, go hard at a Kyle Tucker next offseason. Go try and trade for a guy. Try and make an aggressive move for, maybe a team like Boston moves a guy like Wilyer Abreu, a young corner outfielder. There are options that you can go if those guys aren't the future, but you got to start figuring it out and try and figure out ways to upgrade those positions. But what happens if they do develop and they do show they are the future? Well, now you have a 23, 24-year-old as your starting corner outfielder with Ramos and Lee, who are also like 25, 26 years old going into next season. So you might have your future core in your outfield right there in your lap. So to me, that part also makes a ton of sense. Now, where do these guys fit in trades? I could see Yaz going to a team like the Yankees and playing him over Verdugo. Now, it depends on what they feel about Dominguez. Maybe they kind of get a little creative, trade Dominguez for a star and then put Yaz. I don't know. That could be a fit, though. Maybe there's a team that looks at him like a good fourth outfielder. Now, I don't know if the Giants would be able to trade that salary. If someone's looking for more of a bench piece, they might have to eat some of it, or they may just look into non-tendering him, though I find that unlikely. Wade, I've said it a lot in the past. I think he's a really strong fit in a place like Atlanta, where him using his on base skills could be super valuable in more of a bench role. He could play left field for a while until Acuna is healthy. He could play occasionally at first base. He can pinch hit. He can do a lot of different things in Atlanta to try and help them and just get on base for all the big hitters they have in that lineup that could possibly drive them in. So I could see a couple different fits around the league. I don't think they'd have that big of issues getting those guys traded. I think there are enough teams out there that would want them. So I don't think that would be a problem. So let me know what you guys all think. I know it's kind of a hot topic with those two. Some people are really not fans of them. I think they're solid players. I just don't think they're what the Giants need in 2025 and going, and beyond. So let me know what you guys think. But aside from that, I am on Twitter or X, whatever you call it, TikTok, Instagram. Here's my socials down below. Follow me on all those. I do like to post some of my shorts, especially to TikTok and Instagram. X, I'm always kind of posting different takes on different things. So you can kind of catch me on those. And I like to, talk with people there. So, follow me on any of those. Shoot me a message if there's any topics you really want me to talk about. But other than that, like I said, catch us on NorCal Sports Network tonight. And then make sure you join us for the live show on Friday. I look forward to talking with all of you guys, and we'll see you then. Bye.